Hi, I am making this video because there's some things going on in Patrick and I's life that are difficult to talk about, and so I'm hoping that this video will be a way that I can update everyone about our baby Amethyst, and hopefully all the questions that people have will be answered here. 8 weeks ago, I had an ultrasound, found out that we were having a baby girl, and we decided to name her Amethyst Nicole. Amethyst means two different things. It can be sober or not intoxicated, which is kind of a weird thing to name a kid. But it can also mean dreamstone. And Nicole means victory for the people. And I think that you'll find that that part is important in a minute. Here is a picture that we got on Wednesday. Our beautiful baby. We were told at her 20-week ultrasound that she may only have one kidney and that she was measuring 15 days smaller than what my due date was. But I actually know my dates are very accurate, so that put her in the less than 1 percentile. I've kind of updated some of this stuff on Facebook already, so some of this might be a bit of a repeat. So on Wednesday, we did a follow-up ultrasound and found that according to this picture, she has 2 kidneys. That was encouraging until Friday when they couldn't visualize it again. But I'm pretty sure that based on this picture, we do have 2 kidneys. So I'm not going to worry about that too much. However, at that appointment on Wednesday, they told me that she really is measuring small and not just 15 days behind. Now she's 4 weeks behind. So the gap is growing and we don't really know why. A couple of other things that they said, and I don't have a picture of it. Yeah. Her skull is elongated. So instead of being more round, it's more like this. And they said that the back side is kind of flat. When I saw the picture, not being a radiologist or an ultrasound tech, I didn't really see it, but they did show me how it should look and then compared that to what it does look like. And so she does have a little bit of a flat backside of her head, which could indicate that she has bones that are already fusing together. That should not happen until babies are born already, because when they're coming out, their bones need to be able to overlap each other so that they can come through the birth canal. And so that's normal physiology for a baby. They should not be fused. So the shape of her skull indicates that some of them may already be starting to fuse. Then there is a little pocket of fluid that is between the left and the right brain, and it's normal. It's supposed to be there. If it weren't there, it would mean really serious complications or symptoms for her. Hers is there, but it also is elongated and is larger than it should be, which by itself doesn't mean a whole lot. It could mean intracranial pressure for her, but so could this fused parts of the brain, or I mean, not brain, skull. I'm sorry. I'm a bit out of sorts from all of the information that I have for my own baby. Like if it's a midwifery client, I feel like I could be way more clear, but then of course I wouldn't be sharing it with the world. Anyway, so this little pocket of fluid could indicate that she's going to need to have an ultrasound after she's born to see if it's still there and if it's still big, or if it's measuring the same that it should be, or what is happening with it, and does it need to be drained or whatever. So those are the things that we knew about on Wednesday. On Friday, I went to maternal fetal medicine, and they did a much more elaborate scan. They measured the distance between her eyes. I'm going to show you another picture, which doesn't really prove anything because it looks kind of normal to me. But the distance between her eyes is a little smaller than what they expect it to be. And that also doesn't seem like a big deal. But the combination of all of these things together kind of is starting to add up to a big deal. Oh, one more thing. On Wednesday, we went in and they did what is called a Doppler flow. And that's a measurement of the resistance of the blood that is going through her umbilical cord and to her. The normal numbers should be between 0.0 and 3.0. A 2.0 to a 3.0 is a little concerning. Anything above a 3.0 is indicative of intrauterine growth restriction, which we already know that she probably has because she's measuring so small. But it'll also give us an indication of whether she's in danger or needs to be born sooner rather than later. So on Wednesday, the number for Amethyst was 8.1 to 9 point something. And they didn't put it in my report, but the doctor on Friday told me that he saw indications that the blood was not always flowing. It was stopping in between beats of her heart, which is also bad because the blood should be flowing forward all the time. They did say that it was not going backwards, which is great, but it was stopping. So the doctor said that if I had looked like that on Friday, then he probably would have admitted me to the hospital for further monitoring of her more frequently. However, on Friday, it was 5.6. So a little improved. And he said that it was not stopping in between. It was flowing to her. So that was encouraging. Still nowhere near the 3.0 or less that we should have, but at least improved. So as you can see, I'm at home and I'm not in a hospital. So for now, we're not delivering this baby early, but that doesn't mean that it won't happen. Okay, so back to Friday. They did the Doppler flow and it was 5.6. My midwife, Jen, came with me, and Patrick wasn't able to be with us because I had some other things that I had to do, and we would have had to take 2 vehicles and then childcare and all of this other stuff. So he was waiting at home for answers about what was going on with our baby, and I ended up having Jen call him because we found out that not only do we have all these other issues, and then her eyes are close together and she is growth restricted and 4 weeks behind the measurement that she should be, but we also found out that she has a heart defect. Actually, potentially 2 heart defects. The first one is the one that they said is there. So you have 4 chambers in your heart. The top 2 chambers in an infant in utero is, it's got a little flap in it that's supposed to be there, and it kind of opens up and allows the blood to bypass going to the lungs because it doesn't need to go there because all of the oxygenated blood is coming from the placenta. So that's supposed to be there, and it usually closes up after baby is born. In the bottom 2 chambers of the heart, we should not have a hole or a flap or anything allowing the blood to flow back and forth between those 2 chambers. However, Amethyst has a hole in hers that is allowing the blood to flow back and forth. So when I saw the Doppler or the ultrasound and they lit it up with blue and red to indicate the blood flow, it was dizzying. And I even made that comment to them. I'm like, ooh, that is kind of crazy looking. There's like red and blue and red and blue and red and blue, and it's all over the place. And it was just blinky and like the kind of stuff that would make an epileptic have seizures. So I could tell that something didn't look right. They did a couple more scans on the heart, and I saw like 2 openings going to the chambers of her heart. And I was like, that's not what it's supposed to look like. So being the optimist that I am, I was like, oh, sure, it's fine. I don't know what I'm looking at, but I knew, and it shouldn't have been shocking to me when the doctor said, yeah, she's got a hole in her heart. But it was very shocking, actually. And then he told me that he believes, and he wants to have me go to a cardiologist to find out for sure, that she may have something that is called transposition of the great vessels, which means that the vessels that go out from the heart, one of them should go to the lungs, one of them goes to the upper body, and then another goes to the lower body. Well, the upper body one and the lungs one might be crossed. And if they are crossed, then they're not just crossed, they're actually in the wrong spot, which would mean that after she's born, she wouldn't be getting oxygenated blood to her body. Her oxygenated blood would be going into her lungs where it doesn't really need to go. And her deoxygenated blood would then be circling through her body. And that, if this makes any sense at all, means that she's not getting oxygen to all of her organs, her muscles, her bones, all of the things that need her oxygen, which would mean that she would die. And I don't know how quickly that would happen, but that would happen. So we're going to go see a cardiologist. I'm not sure on the appointment date yet. I'm waiting for them to call me with a date and a time. But if that is true, then what they would want to do is whenever Amethyst is going to be born, we're going to go to U of M in Ann Arbor, and I would deliver there so that within days or sooner, I really don't know, they would be able to perform surgery on her heart immediately. And that means that they're just going to cut those vessels off, flip their spaces, and then sew them back on. I'm being kind of clinically minded again, and I can explain all of this stuff really well and make it as clear as possible and not get emotional. But then if I start thinking about the logistics of the fact that I might be admitted to the hospital to be monitored 1 to 2 times a day to make sure that Amethyst is still able to grow and is not in distress or in danger inside of me, more so than she would be outside of me. And I think about the fact that I'm going to be away from my family if that happens, potentially an hour and a half away from my family, so they can't even really visit me much. That's when things start to break down a little bit. I don't want to make this video too long for you guys, but there's so much that runs through my head. Like, for instance, the fact that I just got out of midwifery school and I have my license now and I have my LLC, and I don't even know if I can take clients because I don't know how my baby's going to do, or when she's going to be born, or how severe things are going to be afterward, or how long it's going to take her to get better. Obviously, the clients that I have already, I'm going to do whatever I can to take care of them. There's not very many at this point. So God's got it in his hands, and I'm going to be able to serve them. That's all I'm going to say on that. But how I'm going to financially support my family the way that Patrick and I had planned for me to be able to do while taking care of a baby in the NICU is a bit concerning. How I'm going to make sure that my kids have clean clothes because I'm the one that does the laundry. I mean, obviously somebody else can do the laundry, but it just puts a lot on other people. And how I'm going to make sure that they have healthy food to eat and not just be eating frozen food or fast food that we can't really afford to buy right now while I'm gone. Or how long am I going to be gone? And then there's the real real possibility that I could be coming home without a baby. I don't even want to think about that. I'm not doing well. I'm doing okay, but I'm not doing well. And again, when I talk to people about it, I'm very clinical. I'm explaining to them this condition that this baby has. And even though I do relate to the fact that it is my baby, it's difficult to switch into an emotional state because I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose control over my emotions and be blubbering and be a mess forever. Especially right now while I don't have any answers. So that's, what's happening with Amethyst right now. I do believe that God gave us her name. All of our girls are named after gemstones, and they're all from the breastplate of of the priests in the Bible, and that's significant to me because it's, the most righteous people, the people that God chose to serve him, and they're adorned with these precious jewels. But then her middle name is after my brother Nicholas, so she's Nicole. And some things have been kind of rough for him and his family, and I looked up what the meaning of his name was, and it means victory for the people, and that's the same as what Nicole means. And I just feel like there's going to be victory coming for his family and the things that he's going through, but also for my baby and the things that we're going through. I have no idea how God's going to work it out, but I already see him working, because as a home birth midwife, I know that sometimes other care providers are not really on board with the care that I provide and the type of birth that I offer to people. And then to not only be the person who offers that, but also the person who was expecting to receive it and now has a baby that is extremely compromised. And I obviously can't have a home birth at this point. I didn't know how I would be received when I got to maternal fetal medicine, and God put just the right person in my path. And he walked in and found out that my midwife, who was with me, Jen, was supporting me as a home birth midwife, and he got excited, and I thought that was pretty cool. And then he found out that I also was a home birth midwife, and he gave me some advice on how to, or that I should take off my midwife cap and put on my mommy cap, and talk to me about stuff like that. But he also was very realistic and told me that he super supports home birth and the options for people, but that he also wants to be very precautious and make sure that I know that my baby is not a good candidate for home birth. And I agree with him 100%. There is no way that I could have a home birth with the situations that are going on with my daughter. We don't know what's going on and why all of these different things are happening to her. All we know is that there's several things, and with it being so many things, it doesn't look like it's just the placenta is not working well. It's more like there's probably a genetic problem happening, which everybody keeps saying, if it's genetic, then why don't any of your other children have it? Well, genetic could be from me, or it could be from Patrick, or it could be the combination of the two of us together makes this difference in our baby. But it also could be that a gene has mutated that wasn't mutated before, and so she would be first generation. This happened with Saphira, my second daughter. She was born, and shortly afterward developed these little cafe au lait spots. They're like little birthmarks. We were sent to talk to a neurologist about it. And he said, well, it doesn't really look like this is something that we need to be concerned about right now, but we're going to keep an eye on her. Well, it turns out that those little spots just kept multiplying. She's got over 100 out of them. And a few years ago, we did take her into another neurologist, and they said she has neurofibromatosis, which is a condition that could grow cysts on the ends of nerves, which could happen anywhere in your body. And so when I was talking to them about it, they said the specific condition that she has is specifically to her, and it has nothing to do with me or Patrick. It was just a gene that mutated while she was being formed. So chances are, I mean, it could come from me, or it could come from Patrick, or it could come from the combination of the two of us. But considering we have 5 other healthy children otherwise, who have not had any of these problems, it's probably a condition that is specific to Amethyst. Although I have no idea, because we don't know what it is. I've even looked up some genetic disorders to try to see if there's one that might fit it. And gosh, there's a lot of genetic disorders out there, and I haven't found one yet, but that doesn't mean that there isn't one. So that's my update for now. I'm trying to deal with the emotions as they come, and I'm trying to move on with my life, because there's a lot of things I can still do, and make sure that the rest of my family is taken care of, and just take one step at a time. But prayer would be really appreciated. Really, really, really appreciated. And just to close this out, I'm going to show you a couple more pictures of my baby. Here's Amethyst. You can see her little nose and her eyes. This little lump, I think, is her elbow, and her hand is actually right up here. And then this one, nice little profile. And another front view. Basically looks like the first one I showed you. Again, her little hand is right up here. She was a wiggly baby. All the wiggles. Not as much in our Friday appointment as in our Wednesday appointment, but she was very wiggly. I'm going to try to update, and hopefully I won't make all of these videos as long, but whenever I get a chance to share more about what's going on with our baby, I will be doing that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for praying. Thanks for sharing this with anybody you can, or just the information. Put us on as many prayer lists as you can, because we'd love to see a miraculous healing happen for our baby. And I love you all. Thanks. Bye.